Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Building Repertoires using Chessable. In this series, I take brand new openings that I've never played before, and I'm learning them for the first time ever using Chessable courses specific to each one. So I'm working through the courses, and after you see me play these openings in my Blitz games during the series, I'll cross-reference them with the Chessable course to make sure I'm playing the right way and making sure I'm learning and improving for next time. So I hope you guys really enjoy the series, and I hope it gives you an insight into how to study and improve at chess. All right, here it is. Here it is. D4. Are we gonna get the center game? No, so we get knight here. So what I'm gonna do, just to transpose, is I'm gonna play knight here. So I think we transpose back into a scotch, which this is the line that we play against it. So we should be fine here. Okay, I don't think that's a move. I don't know. I could be wrong here, but this just looks like a free everything. Free center pawn. Let's get castled. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Should we play d5? It certainly looks like yes. I think we'll take. So bishop here, here. Probably just c6, guards both pawns at once. Wonder what he's gonna do. Any kind of queen trade I'm pretty happy with, so we can be encouraging of that. c6 is a move I want to play for sure. Wow. I'm actually, I think a little bit lucky. Little bit lucky here. To be completely honest with you, I didn't see that he could take it. Because the previous line that I was looking at was bishop f5, rook c1. So just assuming that I was putting my bishop on totally safe square. It didn't cross my mind once that it could actually be taken. So I get very lucky, I get very unlucky, and we actually save this knight. I think so. But yeah, this move was like not by design. Not even close. Here. I can understand that. Knight e2. I don't think we're saving the knight there. Maybe check. check. It's almost like king f1, queen here. Yeah, the thing with g6 is it doesn't really help me. I don't think. This is a really good move, by the way. King there. Great move by him. But it's really only great because of this, that there's no queen takes on h2. It works out perfectly for him. And I don't think we have anything. I don't think we have anything here. So we're gonna have to try to take this. And again, this is like I really did just hang a full piece. So I was super lucky that I could even take his knight. But after that, don't think that's I don't think it's a position that we can really save. As for this, I don't know what you're doing here, but something seems suspicious. Does bro think? Does bro think that I'm going to flag? No. No. He lost his mind. I mean, he hung everything. I don't know. But as I said, I always keep it real with you guys. Not going to try to pretend that this move was our intention. Not even close. I looked at this and I was like, oh yeah, we attacked the queen, and I was expecting bishop e4. The only move I thought of. Only move I thought of. And then, so here I actually thought I just blundered a piece. Super lucky I could even take a knight here. But after rook d1, I didn't see a way to save this knight this way. So I was like, okay, throw in the knight check. But obviously we're not going to be saving the piece because the knight on e2 just gets trapped. So we're sure a bit lucky there. Yeah, not much here. Knight d2 is just a one move blunder, blunders a pawn, and so we were right. I think we were right to just go ahead and take it. e4. Knight c3, and after d5, we can continue with bishop here. And honestly, after c5, I'd have to think what we do, because if we play knight b5, isn't there just queen a5? We can play e4 maybe. Takes knight b5. I mean, there's bishop b4 though. I guess we could take on d4. Here's the thing: if I play e3, I think he plays a6, and am I actually happy with that? Why do I feel like this is like a really logical way to play, no? Because if I play e4, he takes on d4. I don't really know what's happening there. I don't know. I mean, e3 feels like an achievement for black. I don't think he's gonna play this move, and he doesn't. But I mean, feels like me just getting a little bit lucky. Because if he plays a6 there, isn't he doing quite well? Because he's achieved c5, a6. I don't know. I don't know. Feels pretty good. He's probably going to be able to win this back. I don't know if I can fully prevent that. h3, but again, I'm not really keeping that pawn. You can also play this next. I don't think we're doing anything except keeping that pawn here. I don't know. Again, just feels like a pretty natural way to play. I mean, he's definitely a little bit, maybe a little bit worse here, but nothing like what it should be. E6, D5, C5 makes a whole lot of sense. And we don't really have anything for that. I'm trying to think. The worst feeling is when you have actually looked at something, but you just can't remember that you have. Because that feels bad. It's like you've done the work, but you can't show it. F4 is not really too dangerous. We'd like to get lots of trades. Bishop A2 will lose the game to B3. I think we'll go here. Might have to take with the bishop just to have B3 available. So that was kind of annoying, giving him bishop c4, but I think I kind of had to. G5, he might be overextending, but I can't really move this pawn easily. So, how do we join our pieces in the... Well, that's definitely good for me. I needed that. Let's push. Probably move my king next. Can't really be dealing with that position. Really see. I mean, there's no way he should be making a draw. Very strange with 1 second left, but to each their own. Okay, well, this is gonna happen every so often, where somebody plays something, and I'm like, clap it up. That makes a lot of sense to me. Now, it's very clear to me that after c5, in a position like this, that white would want to play e4. That makes a lot of sense to me. But after the move e4, this... I don't feel like I have a good answer to this. So maybe it's knight b5, but I thought queen takes, knight c6 felt weird, and knight b5. I guess there's no queen a5, but bishop b4 certainly felt a little suspicious. I'm curious if this is addressed. I'm curious if this is addressed. Yeah, it makes no sense. How could that not be... How could that not be addressed? Like, c5 is here, but after c5 we play e4. But that's much different. So the only way to get there is like this. But we only look at these two moves. Yeah, like there's just nothing there for the move c5. And if I'm looking with the engine at the move c5, then the engine gives e4. Okay, I get it. Like normally when we see c5, we always react to e4. That makes sense. But I analyzed this in the game, and I didn't really like it. Because e3, and exactly what I just said, now black plays a6, and I think black has a comfy position. Because I haven't committed the knight here, so there's no g4, g5. Yeah, this feels like kind of a problem. So shout out to this 1600 for bringing it to my attention. I'm not sure what we do. e4? To me, this move bothers me, but I guess we're going to have to play it. Knight here. Knight a6. Okay, e4. e5. Knight c6. Are we going to get a scotch? No. Scotch. Gambit. Not the main line. Bishop here. Knight f6. No. Knight f6 is fine, but I think in the course we actually wanted to play this, right? Bishop b4 check. And what? Bishop b4 check. Yes, we take. Really trying to remember. Because I know knight f6 was like simple. Pretty sure it was check. Why does this not look not look very appetizing? Take, I guess. I definitely don't remember anything about this. Nothing. What? Like, obviously, knight f6 can be played, so you just don't go into this. But I swear in this course, he was like, play bishop b4. I'm pretty sure he did. What kind of nonsense am I supposed to play now? I tell you, this does not look comfortable. I got no clue. Well, this doesn't look very nice to play. So, I mean, it looks lost to me. It has the air about it that it's just very bad. I don't get it, man. These lines are not remotely intuitive. Not remotely. uh, wow, what's the move? I don't know. That didn't look comfortable. Felt like we were just lost. So what did we not? What did we not remember? D5 or something? Could have sworn there was some random D5. But what? Well, let's see. So bishop here, knight f6, d4 takes, castles, knight takes e4. But this is the line I played last time. Like, you guys remember there was a game that I played where I took on e4 against someone, and then we got this whole like weird theory. And then I checked the lines and I realized we weren't even supposed to have to play that. Like in this line, he can force it, but we shouldn't even have to play that. So how did that happen? He did it in like some bishop's opening or something. Oh my god. Okay, so it's here. Jeez, how confusing is this? It's after knight f3. Oh my goodness. Like, of course it's so easy to lose a game in like 10 moves. There's so many different move orders. So if white plays knight f3 and plays this, bishop c4, it's obvious because we play this, we take, he castles, and then we take, obviously, because we don't have an option to ever include bishop b4. If he decides to play bishop c4 now, he gives us the option to play bishop b4, but we shouldn't. But you'll notice that it's not included here because knight f6 is direct transposition to a previous line. But in this line, knight c6 directly transposes to this other main line. Directly. But even though it transposes, we should take advantage of the fact that we have not played knight c6 and play bishop b4. And after c3, we take, and like castling wasn't even given as like a move. And I was like, what the hell? Because I could have sworn that the move was d5. Like right here. But then my knight was on c6, kept getting hit by the pawn. And I was like, what the hell am I forgetting here? Why is my knight on c6 being hit by everything? All right, cap. Oh, there you go. Another pre-move on move 3. Another pre-move on move 3. I think we should probably take this while we can. He doesn't have e3, which otherwise would be a problem, but he's a little bit behind in development. I can play queen f6 next. This is not good enough. Not with this in the air. We need to defend this. Let's castle this way. I think h5, h4 will be really, really uncomfortable for him. He pretty much has to play e3. This seemed annoying, so felt the need to defend it. I really like h5. Almost has to play h4, but that leaves the bishop hopeless. But yeah, when you have a knight on e4, like playing h5 like this is really, really strong. And that's not the move you want to play. Let's take this. This guy is hurting. Include this. This might not make sense, but I'm going to include this. Knight d4, we'll just go back. Queen e5 is coming. The pawns didn't get any safer. So I'm hoping that we haven't really given up our chance here. Let's go like this, and I think rook h1 next. If knight takes, I guess he can throw in queen a6. Okay, maybe this would be a good move, but this one first makes a more significant threat, so start with this, and now knight d4 just wins the game. All right, d4, c6. Okay. Bishop f4. Bishop f5, f3. Knight here should still be e3. Bishop g4 is only helpful. Yeah, we've seen a few people do this, but it's actually quite helpful. And as far as I know, we're just going to be up a full move on a main line. So I think he's in trouble. He goes knight a6. I think we've seen this before. I mean, at this point, we've looked at a few moves. I never really trust g5, but you know what? King b1, I remember us looking at this before. King b1 is like often just a very good move. I don't think I'm crazy to do that. We'll do this and take. Remember, knight here, I think we play queen f3, e5. I think we have some good stuff, because here it looks very tempting because of all this. But I think we can start with queen f3, which would force h5. And we've played a game really similar to this. I mean, if the knight goes back, we have this. And it has to play h5. We go here. Now we want to play knight into d6, so it feels like he's got a castle. But then we play knight here. Feels like he's got to play this. We've actually had a game really similar to this. Maybe even the exact game. So, okay, he plays this move, but look, if you're not going to defend... Like, if he played g6, remember, we play rook g1, I swear, we're delivering mate there. As for this, knight takes here, you're just losing material. Like, I don't care about that at all. At f4, you had to defend that pawn. So, I think he's in trouble. Yeah, so this move has to happen. We also probably need to take it. But I think he's borderline lost here. Yeah, so we start with this one, and then we deliver the check. Could be either way, I think, because the point is just rook g7, and then uh, bring a queen to h6. So takes and takes should be good enough. Let's maybe go here. Again, that seems a bit irrelevant. Knight d5, maybe even c4. I feel like we can spend time on that. And are we really stopping things here? Okay. Interesting. Let's go. d4. Okay. Maybe c5 from our opponent here. And that line can rear its ugly head again. So knight b5 here. Okay. e3. Okay. b6. Haven't seen too much of that. Assuming we just play kind of normally here. 95 looks really nice to play as soon as possible. c5 will lose material from what I can see. Bishop b4, and he wants to play knight e4 next. Well, knight e5 looks like a good place to start, hitting the pawn on c6. Okay, so there's a baby tactic here. Is there even a baby tactic here? Knight takes, b5. That doesn't even look good. Looks like we're losing. I'm going to have to play a4 there just to get my bishop out. Is that actually good? And then giving up my light squared bishop is an absolute no. So I actually don't even think there is a tactic there. Let's just play this. e4 is not a senseless move. Knight e4, we're probably going to sack this pawn and just castle. Okay, he castles, we can castle as well. c5, I think we'll just leave it. don't like this, so I'm definitely going to give the pawn back. The way that I'm playing is not really to win that pawn or anything. Okay, knight b4 is actually a little annoying. This queen h3. I don't know. I don't like that move. I feel like he's missing a lot of stuff, but he's not really being punished for it, you know? We get lucky. Not really. Oh, we played. Yes, maybe. Doesn't really help, no. Oh, that's not what I thought. Okay, maybe we're lost here, but maybe not. Actually a bit suspicious for him now. Oh, buddy. Oh, the reason why it's lost was actually queen d2. To play queen g2 or queen h2. And okay, I played g4 because I realized I'm covering h2, but this one is simple. You just can't let me have one move. So rook f3, like, it's still lost, but now you need to start sacking. Because if you don't sack here, then you might not be mating at all. It's completely over, but yeah, all you had to do is like pause for like half a second. So even in this one, I don't think we've really seen this as usual. So what was this? No, it moves. Broken. e4. Yeah, so knight b5, knight a6, e3, c6, knight c3. I mean, obviously the opponent played b6, so it's not ever going to be in the thing, but I was more curious about bishop b4. I'm wondering about bishop b4. Because this move is whatever, it can be included or not. I'm more curious, how do you actually handle this pin? What should be the reaction to that? Because here it's probably going to be like bishop a6. Actually, no, maybe not. Oh, the engine isn't even working. Man, nothing's working right now. Our openings aren't working. Chess.com's not working. The engine's not working. Okay. Whoa, a little pre-move action there. Bishop f4. So what's the situation here? Is he going to play one of these moves? It feels like preventing knight b5 has kind of become the main thing. This move, it happens a lot. I don't know. I mean, knight b5 is the whole point of this entire opening. He must play this move, but fortunately for him, it's not that hard to find a move that you have to play, you know? Okay, although we can play this, I think I'm actually going to play knight d4. I think it's a bit better. So already, bishop f4, knight b5 was incredibly good for us. No worries out of the opening immediately. Knight f3. Okay, maybe we have to deal with bishop g4, although it's not really a problem. We can just go bishop e2 after that. Okay. We do that. He's probably going to play f6, to be honest with you guys. Let's just play bishop e2. Want to be ready for this. There's the move f6. So I think what I'm actually going to do is castle, question mark. Are we going to castle? I want to take and then end up taking back here, but my f pawn does hang in that line. I think I'm going to go for it. I think this is the way to go. So takes here, takes, knight takes e5. I will be hitting the c6 pawn, but it's not actually my intention in that line. My intention is to bring the knight back to d3 and fork the knight and bishop after rook takes f4. But it's nice to have options. So I think it's better to castle first and wait for him to do this and then take the knight, rather than take the knight and then castle, because then he doesn't have to take me. I think that was an important move order here. Again, if he takes this, I think I'm ready to handle it. So let's just go c3. If he takes, again, we start with knight takes, and then we're able to take this pawn. I think that's quite helpful. So important to do the move order properly. If we take here first, black has no reason to take us on e5, and he's going to continue to delay that until it benefits him. As for this, I feel like pawn here we want to do. Let's go bishop d3. I want to make way for my queen to come out here. Yeah, we can start with this, but I think queen h5 is the way to go. We have a couple ideas here. Yeah, there should be something good here. I mean, let's start with this check. And most likely a queen move here next will sort things out. Knight check, king here. I'm really hunting for the win. But amazingly, I'm not seeing it. I mean, the win should be... Okay, so queen here to deliver mate. He actually can run away this way. So what I will do is I'll actually give him this check. He's only got one square. And now my next move, I'm going to give him a check with my bishop, but I'm going to move this knight to e7. And now when I play queen g6, not only will my opponent not have rook e4 to block this diagonal, but the knight will also cover g8 so the king can't run. So now I think queen g6 is a force mate. I would have loved to have played queen g8 and some sort of smothered mate there, but I couldn't force it, so. This one is clean and cut. Checkmate on h7. Nothing he can do about it. GG. We're playing d4 and knight, c3. Okay. Pretty normal stuff so far. These are the moves that we might expect to see, or bishop f5, e6. I think this is becoming something that we're seeing more and more at the higher levels. People not reacting to this. And I believe this one is one where we have to play bishop d3. Knight c6. Not used to that. I wonder how we are supposed to play this. I actually, I'm kind of interested in taking. We go queen here. I get my general idea is this, so I'm just gonna do it. I think I could probably do better than this, but I'm gonna go bishop g5. Yes, he wants to take my knight, but I'm not sure I'm gonna allow that. Let's start with this. Or even queen d3 looks looks pretty good. But I guess both moves the exact same. Same idea. We want to defend this. I do want to take the knight at some point. He wants to jump in with knight e4. Let's not allow that. He's got to take with the queen. Oh, pawn takes. I can't even speak about this position right now. So disgusting. Let's make sure to play g3. The last thing I want is takes, f4. I don't want him to be able to give that pawn away. So let's play a3. And let's keep our pawn structure completely solid. I don't even want to let him play h4. So let's play h4 ourselves. This is the perfect pawn structure against this. This knight wants to go control the f4 square. So let's bring it back. Once we control this square, we're all safe. I'm thinking about b3. I just noticed you could maybe take. Didn't really account for that, but something about that feels quite suspicious. So I guess we'll just let him do it if he wants to. He takes. I'm going to go here. Could have decided to play b3 maybe instead of that, but it's okay. He'll bring his knight back here, which is another terrible square. If I really want to be annoying, I could try to play knight c3, but I think for now, let's just take a pawn, even up the material. Let's get castled. And yes, you can get your knight out, but after I play c4, I'm not really sure where you're going except back to a7 or something. So let's take. We're all over these pawns here. Knight f4, for example, is going to happen. Let's just bring all the artillery to this side. Queen f3 also adds some support there. Knight c6, rook takes a6. And we have c5. I don't want to rush c5 because maybe it lets him block with this move. Queen f3 certainly looks interesting. You know, make some threats here. There's a rook takes a6 idea in the future. Okay, now he goes c6. Now he's got me thinking, okay, I was going to bring my knight here. Now I want to maybe sink the knight in there or into the c5 square. I think knight c3 is a good place to start no matter what. Here or here? Kind of hard to say which one's better. They both look really good. This one also hits the pawn. Queen e6 runs straight into our move. So that's a big mistake. I guess we take here. I'm trying to think if there's a better idea. Take this. King g2 is going to be a nice, just like safe move to play. Don't need to be getting into any shenanigans. Maybe check and take was good, but I just want to double the rooks, to be honest with you. Let's go here to defend this. So rook f6 we can meet like this, and queen e4 is not going to be that much of a problem. He's got to really watch out for this. Plus rook b1 is a pretty serious threat. Okay, this actually still works as a double attack, so serves its purpose. He had queen f5 to defend both, but that would be a tough move to find. b5, we have queen takes c6. I'm probably actually going to take the pawn on b5 first. Looks silly because of pawn takes saves the c pawn, but then we would take the a pawn. And now, doesn't matter about knight a7. We're 100% sacking. He's got a sacrifice as well. And we'll make sure to clean up the pawn. And positions like this are always really, really easy to pre-move. Should always always make them suffer. Always make them suffer. Of course, with all pre-moves. We still had 20 more moves in us. So, if we remember the opening, I think this was actually I'll make sure to check the course here on this one. I'm assuming that knight c6 is not going to be in the course because why would it be? Doesn't look like a very good move, but we'll certainly check. What a douchey thing to do. I know, but you're gonna have to put up, like, you guys who are playing at this rating level, you will find, unfortunately, once in a while, there will be some douches in the pool that refuse to resign against you. But unfortunately, that behavior you can't really control. Okay, bishop f5, e3, e6, bishop d3. As expected, knight c6, not mentioned. It's not a very good move. It's not a very good move. So let's have a look at it just here for a sec. Let's see, knight c6. I think I had the right idea with taking. Now, I'm curious about this because definitely black has a plan of letting me take and going knight back to e7. Computer doesn't really hate it. I like the move bishop g5. It feels like a good way to handle this. For those of you that have ever had this structure played against you, of course, with this knight here and the pawn on c6, black has a very decent position. But with the knight on c6, it's really advantageous for me to take this knight because this knight is trash. It's not going anywhere useful. But this knight is about to hop into e4. So if you start playing like knight f3 here, allowing bishop b4, knight e4, don't think you'll have as good of a time as bishop g5. I know it's spending an extra move on the bishop, but you immediately make a threat. This pawn is not easy to defend because the only two defenders are actually being bothered now by bishop g5. Queen f3 becomes an immediate threat. Knight e2 to support your knight always, like I did. So I'm definitely a big fan when I see this structure of trading that knight off for my bishop. And as you can see here, black only has one move to keep the balance. Makes sense, though. Makes sense because he should unpin himself. So something like this, queen f3, and he just happens to have the move knight e7. Doesn't mean that my position is any worse. I can play knight e2, h3, g4, maybe long castle, and he's still going to have some pressure to deal with. This knight can get to either f4 or g3, depending which pawn I want to attack. So not a position we see too often, but yeah, bishop d3 against bishop f5, e6. I guess that's the most important thing to remember. And we remembered that. He deviated. I think we understand the position well enough to go for this bishop g5 idea, and I think it worked out pretty reasonably in the game. Our RL, Rocket League, Chad resub. Thanks for the 10 months, buddy. Appreciate prime from you. Allow us to continue as we approach 1800. All right, d4. We know we're going with knight f6, and as expected, a lot of people do not play c4. Don't worry, we've been dealing with this a lot. So with the London, I like to start with c5. It usually gets my opponents playing c3. Then from here, I continue d5. We'll probably see these two knight moves. And we're going to attack the bishop. I'm really curious to see how he handles it. So he moves back. Because he wasted a move, I can waste the move with queen c7. I know it looks silly because if he takes, I have to take back. But it looks even sillier for him. He moved his bishop back, and now he's going to take? Like, what? And I just love this line. Bishop d6, queen c7, knight d7. He has now officially lost control over the e5 square. So we can castle here. Goes queen e2. And although we can take and play e5, in my experience, people get a little antsy with like playing on the king side. So I'm just going to go really, really simple. And I'm going to play the move e5 without taking, even though taking an e5 is probably a little better to ruin his pawns first. But he's opening the center when his queen and king are right there. Like, what? What the heck? That cannot be good, my friend. There's no heckin' way. So, most natural thing for me to do appears to be just playing rook e8. Maybe there are other things to do, but I'm just going to go here. And it's like, okay, you made this situation. You created this, like, everybody take everybody situation. So good luck dealing with it now that it's happened. Okay, castles. He's going to lose the bishop here. Definitely. I don't think there's anything you can do about that. And while there's probably a lot of ways to play here, probably just taking the bishop is a decent start. I'm wondering if we can be any trickier. I don't know. Let's just take the bishop. Keep it real simple. It's an interesting decision. I'm not sure that it actually changes anything. Just trying to think. Yeah, let's just like do this for now. I'll play f6. My pawns are on dark squares. It seems like my light squares are weak, but at least I have a light square bishop, which is kind of important. That's why I feel comfortable doing this. He's probably going to look to reroute his knight, or at least he should. But we'll bring the rooks into the middle and probably moves like that. Again, he's so... I don't know what the word is, but he's so willing to play these types of moves that I would say are like... these types of moves I would say are scary. Should not be playing these. He's making them work. All right, let's take... These are impressive moves. Okay, takes perhaps. We'll just sort of fall into everything. So now we'll take with check. I'm not sure that it does that much because we can't really take back here, which is a little unfortunate. We have to take like this. And I'm not sure there's anything like insane to do here. Like I can go take this pawn maybe. Genius. Yeah. Let's give a check here. Bring the bishop back. And yeah, I mean, we're up a pawn, you know. Whoop-de-doo. Nothing too crazy. So we'll try to take control of some knight squares. I'm going to have to give up some squares to get some squares here. Maybe we'll see g4. Okay, he goes here, which might be helpful for me. Don't think that was the right move. Now we can push this a pawn. a4 or a5, a4. Try to do that ASAP. Yeah, so he is going to do this. Let's make sure to get a pre-move with check. That always helps out a lot. Now, if he checks us, we'll go back and we'll find shelter on this square. And we'll play rook g3, and he's probably going to be tempted to check us. He doesn't. This position is actually going to advance, I think, pretty comfortably. Let's try this. Looks like it'll simplify. Let's put our rook on a safe square, so now we can start pre-moving like this. I'm going to try to go for safe pre-moves. So like this pawn push, I can do no matter what. This, no matter what. I'm going to hover this. Now I can... These I'm going to do the exact same pattern, right? Same moves over and over. I'm probably not going to pre-move rook g1 because I don't want him to sack for the pawn and me not catch it. But as you can see, it's pretty easy to advance this whole little like thing up the board. And now we'll just do something like this. Don't really want to deal with potential stalemates, so I'm just going to put my king in front. Well, a pretty good game by our opponent. Like someone who was a little bit faster or maybe had a little bit better sense of the end game there, not trading too much, I think probably could have flagged me. But going back to the opening, this is the London, something we always have to deal with. And This is what I've been playing non-stop in this series. It's not officially recommended from like a Chessable course. This is just my recommendation against the London. Play the Nimzo move order. Play c5. They'll always play c3 because they're supposed to, actually. It's not that c3 is bad, but then you play d5. They're going to develop here. And when the bishops attack, they'll react in usually one of like a couple ways. The first one is they'll take you. You're usually very happy to see that. The next one is they'll move their bishop back. You just play queen c7, next move knight d7 and take over this square. And if they do neither and they play knight d2, then I've been liking just taking. I don't like taking here and playing that pawn structure, but after you take here, either they take this way and they get these trash pawns. You don't like this isolated pawn for white, or they'll take this way and lose their bishop, or they'll take this way and they'll have to play this position where they're down. Sorry, they're down a pawn. It's supposed to be good with the computer, but most people who play the London are not going to be able to play this position super well. And we can play knight c6, plant a knight on b4, get castled, maybe knight e7 to get castled. We have an extra pawn. It's a center pawn. I don't think there's anything to complain about for black. So we're missing the two bishops, but we literally have an extra pawn. Can't be unhappy here. So every time we played against the London, it's gone really well just using this line. So that's what we're going to stick with. 926 Andy, thanks for the 34 months, buddy. Hello, Anthony. I mean it, Anthony. Every time we've played against the London, it's been very smooth sailing in terms of the opening. That's a good sign. Okay, e4. That's our toughest one, playing e5. Ooh, and the quick bishop c4. So will we see queen h5 here? No, he's going to take, which is always surprising because it just allows this move. And for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what the heck d4 is. I think we should take this. It does look tempting to take. I mean, there's so many things to take that it's kind of a confusing move. But we'll certainly take the bishop, even though we actually, I was going to say, even though he's going to take this pawn, but he's not. He's going to play d5, which, again, I really don't understand. I think c6 here is going to be pretty good. I mean, if he takes, same thing happens. So he's got to keep pushing, but now he's getting more and more like committed. I don't know how he keeps everything. Yeah, so he's going to move his knight, but and quite literally, that is impossible to defend on the next turn. So maybe let's defend this pawn. We have f6 after knight there, but I can also just take. Okay, reasonable move. Should we bother playing this? Not sure if this is smart or not, but let's play bishop d5. Bishop takes d6. I can only imagine. How is queen h4? One sec. Queen h4 is just... Yeah, bishop d6 is a good move, but queen h4 looks like a problem. Queen f5 to threaten a checkmate idea if I take with the queen. Unfortunately, taking on e4 is a check, so that doesn't work. So he's actually got nothing here. We're attacking this knight. It's pinned to the queen. This is the only trick that I could sort of see, but queen takes is a check and forces a queen trade. So I don't think he's got anything, but he surprises me and finds a pretty slick move here. G4. I don't think my reaction is going to be too... I don't think my reaction is going to be too crazy. I'm going to play h5. Gonna take on h1. Now everything's loose. I think he's gonna resign. Yeah. Oof. So that was a quick, very quick win. But is anyone surprised that that was a quick win? Remember, we were playing against the Vienna. Vienna is one of the worst openings to play right now. Definitely have never ever faced the Vienna where I left the game being like, oh, that was a pretty strong opening. You made it to the end of yet another episode. I hope that this was really informative, letting you guys know how to study chess, how to improve at it, and how to use Chessable as a tool to help do so. At the end of the day, I think it's one of the best ways that you can learn openings, and I think that this series is a pretty good example of that. So if you liked those courses that I was working through, or if you wanted to pick up different ones more specific to your repertoire, make sure to use chessable.com/chessbrah if you're going to upgrade to a pro membership. That's all from me, and we'll see you in the next episode.